So here we are at the Burnt Shopping Network. We're going to make raw chocolate with the Vitamix. I've pre-measured out. There's three main ingredients. And actually two of them are one ingredient. Cacao, which is raw chocolate. Unprocessed chocolate. Which is, we've got in two forms. We've got cacao butter, which when I say this, you're familiar, so you know, right? Cacao butter and cacao powder. Cacao butter is more or less the fat. I've also been recently making it with cacao paste, which is a mixture of the fat and the powder together. This was my original recipe, so I'm just going to stick with this. It was based on a recipe that Mia Deline gave me. I have to give her a little bit of credit, but I've kind of just done my own with it, and then cacao powder, which is just the raw chocolate. And the rule of thumb is this: 1 to 1 to 1. 1 cacao powder. Well, that's fine. Well, I wasn't sure what you had, so I went ahead and brought. So 1 to 1 to 1. 1 cacao powder, 1 cacao butter, and 1 coconut butter. Coconut also is a very great superfood. It's just Google it. It's good stuff. Coconut butter, which is really more or less all of the coconut just together. It's just coconut. It's got the oil. You can get coconut oil. You can make a syrup with coconut oil, or make the smoothie. It's really good. But the chocolate, it's not. It's hard enough to keep the chocolate stable. So those are the three things: coconut butter, cacao butter, cacao. As long as you make those even portions, you could do, 1 cup to 1 cup to 1 cup, 2 cup to 2 cup to 2 cup, 3 cup to 3 cup. But it takes practice, because initially when I began using the Vitamix, if I did more than 1 cup, I would burn it. I would have to get it all to work because of the thickness. But now I've been able to do 2 cups, and what I've realized is the agave, which is usually what I use as a sweetener, I put that in very, very last. Because I'm not exactly sure why, but it'll bind up. It doesn't seem like it's a heat thing. It just seems like...
Well, I had it separate once.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. It binds up around the center, and then it overheats, and then everything else never coagulates together. So that'll happen. But we're going to be using honey, raw honey, and a little bit of agave. The other ingredients, vanilla, which this is, some people would say if you're making it 100% raw, use the raw powder, which is good. This is a little easier to work with. Just vanilla extract, try to get organic and everything. And then Himalayan sea salt. And I always put some sort of nut, and sometimes raisins or dates, which we're not doing that in this one. The raisins or dates make it kind of a little... You have? What do you got?
We'll just keep going.
Let's just keep going. So the main thing is, the first thing you do is, and the order of ingredients is important, is the cacao butter and the cacao, or the coconut butter. These are basically 1 cup portions. The main thing is you want to get these to melt. You want to get them to melt without heating them. You use the motor to heat them. So sometimes I'll pour it in separately. I'm going to go ahead and just put because it's just 1 cup, put the whole thing in, and you got to plunge. So you get it going, and you plunge it. Part to taste the nice part. measuring cup. Or one of those bowls is fine. Now I'll turn this down just so I can talk a little bit. Now you can see, if you want to come on in here, you can look, you can see the bulk of it is melted. Now I stop it so that you can kind of just batter this stuff in. Some of my earlier batches, I have taken the tip of the spatula off and had people find it in their chocolate, and that's, you really don't want that. It's just going to keep people from eating it. I do get in there, but being here, I'm not going to. I turn it off.
I gave you the one that already has the vitamins.
Right. And actually, I've done it with this, and we have a hole in the bottom of this.
Yeah.
And that is one thing you definitely don't want, because if you leave it in the sink, it fills up with water, and you can't get it out, and it stinks.
Yeah.
So we need to get a new one for us. I drilled holes in the top so we can get the water out. It's a mess. We have to put it in the dishwasher. So now is the point where accidentally we might turn it on and have it shoot up. So I'm not going to do that. And what will happen is sometimes with a little amount like this, it'll heat up and you'll get little pockets down here, but we'll just go a little bit. You can see the consistency. It'll turn even more yellow and almost clear, like a thick clear. So we're looking pretty good. That's really good. So now I just now you just keep it moving, because it's already done. So as long as it's moving, you're in good shape. Huh?
I've never had it that watery.
Because now if I keep it down, I can't burn it. We're just keeping it moving. Once it's melted, it just stays, And you can feel it's a little warm down here, but not hot. When it starts to smoke, you know you've gone too far. That's happening. So I can see little pockets here that need a little love. But again, don't go diving in right away. I've done it quite a bit, so I kind of got a feel, And that's why I keep these up on the side. So now that you got it like that, I take my vanilla. Just bam. About a teaspoon, I think, or a little less. Maybe a half a teaspoon for 1 cup. I can't remember. You really can't put too much. I mean, you could, but you'd have to try pretty hard. And it's vanilla, so it's still good. And I do the same thing with the salt. Now this is kind of coarse, and you'll get, when it's done, you'll get little bits of salt, and it's kind of cool that way. You could put too much salt, but you'd have to really try to put too much salt. It's just just kind of gauge it. So now we're here, and now it's more just kind of work the cacao powder in. Let it go a little bit. And now depending on the cacao, and sometimes, for a while, my wife was really working on getting rid of candida and trying to have no sugar. And I was making chocolate with nothing in it. Nothing. And she was eating it pretty good. No sweetener. And actually, at Raw Vegan Source, they have a great cinnamon, and the cinnamon is actually sweet. I've never had that growing up. I was like, wow. So you put that in, and it's actually pretty good. So now, if you want to take a look at this, you can see it's going really well. That's exactly what you want. So now we'll just pour a little honey in there. And now it's really just a taste.
Want me to wipe it?
Do it.
Yeah.
And so, I'm just going to put a squirt in this. And again, it could get too sweet. And actually too sweet does make it kind of bad. You could taste it. You could put more. You can always put a little more cacao powder in it to balance it out. And then the thing that I like to do, see, it's starting to thicken up a little bit. So I sped it up a little bit because it starts. You don't want it to not turn. And then I just take like a handful of nuts. And so that's probably all you need.
So when you put dates in there.
So you can go ahead and taste it. That's maybe a little sweet. If it always comes out a little less sweet, but sometimes I've over-sweetened it. And I say I ruined it, but everybody loves it anyway, so there's really no way to lose.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
So then, just take a cookie sheet. Let's just do this real quick, and then we can talk about whatever. Because that's it. We're done. Now it's just really, and I think it's thick enough that it's not gonna go too far. It might. Worst case is you've got more chocolate around.
That's right.
Usually making the chocolate's a pretty happy time. Oh, we're gonna have more than I thought. So
I have another.
I mean, the worst is you're gonna get it on the edges. I think you're gonna be fine.
Let's put it in a...
Well,
that pan below isn't clean, so...
Well, it's just seasoned.
There you go. So then you just get in here. And now the key that I do, because I have a chocolate shake every morning. So what I do is, and we're always having tea. We always have tea. So then you just lick everything. That's the healthy, ooh, I think I made a drip down there. That would be the thing about not being on this side. So then what I do is, while it's in this state, I usually have my chaga tea or tea going, heat that up, fill this up with tea while it's warm, and then that cleans it. And then I put that in my fridge and use that as my base for the shake in the morning. Mm-hmm. So you're going to want to do something like that. Because you don't want to, I don't like throwing anything out. So that's it. You're done.
John, you want to make a...
You put that in the fridge.